Howdy. It's Lonnie Ray Williams with the Independent American Party. Independent American Patriots. I forget sometimes that what a struggle it was to leave the party system behind and become free of that madness. You know, I haven't made a video in a while, and I don't like to be the bearer of bad news. I don't like to rant, tell people to get off their butts when they should be doing it, tell people to do something about their awful situation when they should be doing it. But here I am. So that's kind of part of the reason. There's so many things I could have ranted about, went off about, but y'all got plenty of people on YouTube to do that about. You know, every Saturday, I guess I'll start there. Now I'm about a minute into this, and hopefully I've bored enough people to get out of this. Every Saturday for, I think, 5-6 weeks now, I've been butchering a pig. And every Saturday for at least the next few months, I'll be doing the same thing. Some of that's going to go into my freezer. Some of that's going to go into my neighbor's freezer. Some of that's going to go into family members' freezers. Now, I've been pretty blessed this year, and I've been working my butt off and producing a lot of animals, and I'll be going into winter as lean as I possibly can to preserve my herd, but it's time for me to get thin. And it's time for all of us to get thin. Because we got a lot of crazy stuff going on. Now, things that have been normalized lately that, while we weren't looking. Well, boys can beat up girls. I know it's a shock. It's a true story. Down in Oregon, in middle school, there was a boy who likes to dress as a girl who kicked the crud out of a girl. Snuck up behind her, he was such a coward. Now, this is, I guess it's okay. The school system's okay with it because he can't figure out that he's not a boy. So that makes it okay, whatever he wants to do. I guess that's the way of the life nowadays. At least in Oregon, I think here in Washington too, and heck, probably most 50 states. Because y'all ain't standing up and doing anything about it. Sorry, that's the cold truth. You're not. Otherwise, things would be different. Now, don't worry about sort of crazy things like that. If that makes you mad, well, hold on. Your government's broke. Now we'll just print more money. Well, we've been paying attention to our money supply and the fact that nobody's buying our debt anymore other than us. You'll understand why our money is worth less every day. Now, they call it inflation, but the reality is your dollar is worth less today than it was yesterday because nobody wants them around the world anymore. Because if you look at our debt to GDP ratio, which is the amount of debt that we have with the amount of, say, industry that we have or economic capacity that we have in this country, we don't have the capacity to actually pay our debt right now. That's okay. Don't worry about it because we're going to borrow more money. Serious? That's the solution. We're going to borrow our way out of an impossible debt situation. Now, don't worry about it. If your dollar doesn't buy you anything, just get you another one. And if those $2 don't get you anything, then go ahead and make you a pile of dollars. Maybe, just maybe, you might be able to buy a stick of bubble gum if the supply lines are able to deliver. Because you see, gas is getting awful expensive. I don't know. For some of you guys, you don't have a crazy state like Washington where they're gonna tax. They are already taxing pretty much the air that you breathe out and how far you travel and all the other kabuki theater it is, all based on some sort of common core science, I'm sure. And so our tax goes up all the time because of, well, we exhale too much. Our pigs poop too much and fill the atmosphere full of, I don't know, stuff that plants breathe. Gosh, can't have those plants breathing that stuff. We need to cut them back. They've been breathing it far too long. And we need to really consider the damage they're doing by breathing all that CO2. This is how crazy life is. I know I've just spewed a bunch of monumental nonsense into the air, but this is our life. Now, don't worry about it. World War III is actually right around the corner. That's right. Russia said, yep, we are now ready to engage NATO fully, and it will be far worse than 1945. The implication being that was when Nagasaki and Hiroshima was bombed. So yeah, we're going for nuclear. We're ready to deal with NATO because we're tired of these idiots not listening to us. Now, I am no fan of Russia. I'm not Russian. I don't even think I necessarily have any Slavic descent. I'm sure I do. I mean, we're all related somehow. But that being said, Russians are just doing what any country does. They're looking out for their own interests. And why are we over there again? Something to do with Burisma, drug labs, all sorts of things. No, that's not it. It's about democracy because Ukraine has some of the wonderful elections in the... No, they canceled those. See, this is the insanity. We're over there supposedly fighting for democracy when we ourselves are not a democracy, we're a republic. We're going into a government shutdown, and we're not going to pay our people, but we're going to pay the Ukrainian government during our government shutdown. We're sending ammunition and weapons that we can't even manufacture anymore. We don't make tanks anymore, but we're going to go ahead and give them away. It's going to take us at least 2 years to open up a tank factory if we ever should happen to be in a war. Hold on, just wait for us to get our factories up, please. Yeah, that's how wars are fought. There's so much insanity going on. It makes it really hard for us to find a moment, to take a moment and find out what's important. Keep it simple. These pigs need to eat every day, and so do you. When these pigs run out of food, that's okay. I will have them to eat. Have a backup plan, people. Your grocery stores are not going to be the places that they once were. You will not have the ability, whether financially, stock, or transportation. There's so many reasons why, but you're just not going to have the ability to have all the things that you did. You already don't. Perhaps you're one of those wealthy people and you say, well, it hasn't affected me any. Great. You know what? You're the top 1% and you're part of the problem because your head's so far up your butt you can't even see that this country has a problem. We have a lot of problems in this country. And the most number one basic thing that you can do, focus on your food supply. Feed yourself. Feed your family. Make sure your neighbors are taken care of. Develop that community. And if you're one of those selfish individuals, well, I'm just gonna... You go ahead. See how far you get in the end on your own. Don't come knocking at my door if you want to be a selfish little person. You want to be selfless. You want to be community oriented. You want to help work. You want to help make this all survive when our government falls apart here in the next few months. Then come on by. That's the mentality we need to have. We need to stop being so stupid when it comes to things like boys beating up girls. You know, since the beginning of like time, I mean, at least in my life, that's been a taboo thing. And you know what? Maybe that's just what we need to do. We need to get back to some of the basics. Because you know what my granddaddy used to say? Boys don't beat up on girls. That's some time-honored wisdom. Boys don't beat up on girls. Now, if we would have stuck to those simple principles and preached that an X and a Y is a male and an X is a female, well, if we would have stuck with those simple scientific principles, I think we'd be far better off. Like the simple scientific principles that says you raise your animals and you eat them. And you're far better off than if you get food out of a box. There's so many things going on, but I want you all to focus on the basics. Please, raise your own food. When it rains, the pigs get muddy. The good thing about focusing on raising your own animals, gardening, trying to make it work, is that you learn a lot of hard lessons. When you got to butcher your own animal, you got to go through some emotional challenges. When you got to castrate an animal as a guy, you got to go through some emotional challenges. You start to understand that things have consequences. Whether actions or inaction has consequences. I choose not to feed these pigs. You know what they're going to do? Well, regardless of the electric fence, they're going to go through this fence. Because you know what they see on the other side? Yum. Grass. And they'd love to eat it. They have a nature. Pigs have a nature. Animals have a nature. And guess what? Humans have a nature. And when you understand animal nature, you start to understand human nature. And there are those who are devolving into submitting to their human nature and becoming animals, which is what's happening into our society. And there's those who's holding on to a higher path: civilization, respect, dignity, intelligence, common sense, wisdom. These things are being bled away because you have schools and you have whole institutions saying, look, we can't do math anymore because it's racist. We can't do English anymore because it's racist. We can't do history anymore because it goes against diversity, equity, and inclusion. All the stupid things that they're saying right now. Because what they want is you to be stupid. They want your children to be stupid. They don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to understand that a pig is what can feed you, not a grocery store. A politician can't save you. Your own sweat, your own work, your own community building is the only thing that will save you in the end. And if you don't get that figured out like yesterday, it's too late. We're running out of food. We're running out of money. We're running out of the ability to survive as a species because of our own stupidity. And because of that, we're running out of time. If you study any history at all, to any degree, over a period of time, you will see that it is all the same. Humanity starts from a bit of chaos. They throw off their old. They become great. They become prideful. And then they lose track of who they are morally. Then the greed comes, and then the end comes for them. That's where we're at. If you can't wrap your head around the fact that it's over, okay. Well, yeah, the power's still on and all that good stuff. I get that. Right now, things are good. Talk to me in a year. Promise you. You won't recognize this country. And if you don't have some of these to put here and feed your family, or something like that, you'll be starving. Figure it out. You're out of time. And anywhere where there is stupidity about some boy beating up a girl, you stand up. Pull your big girl panties up or pull your britches up if you're a man. Grab your pair and say, this will not stand. Where are the parents in that school district? Forget it. Not even get around about it. They made their bed. Now they're going to lie in it. Don't send your kids to public school, people. Homeschool them. Homeschool your children. Homeschool your children or they're going to be victims of the government. Don't be irresponsible and give your children to the government. Don't be irresponsible and send your children to school. Homeschool your children and they'll get a far better education. My 5-year-old reads and knows his numbers and more intelligent than I ever was at that age. Because my mom just said, yeah, just wait till school. They'll take care of it all. We can do better. I've ranted long enough. It's 15 minutes. I'm sorry for all those who were looking for some sort of righteous indignation. I gave you some pigs to look at. We're hosed as a country. I'm not done fighting, but you got to have your one foot in this one, and one foot with the flag in your hand, standing up, raising holy heck. One way or the other, you're going to be right. And if you do nothing, well, you'll never win. You know, there's one thing that the people who are successful always have in common. This is the last thing I'll leave you with. They do something. Never met a successful person who didn't do anything. So if you're not doing anything right now, you're not contributing to your success. That's about ranting and raving. I've got so many different directions I can go, and I could talk for a long period of time, but I always talk too much. I just want you guys to know that, yeah, things are crazy. But there's things you can do about it, and do the things you can do. Because just sending your kids to school means they're just going to get beat up by psychopaths. Time to go back to the way we used to do things. There. It's actually been pretty good for me. All right, thank you guys. God bless. Hey, check us out over at the independentAmericanPatriots.com.org, or I don't know, whatever we are. And you can find us there. If you want to find out more about my monthly publication, The Pamphlets, that's thepamphlet.net. And digital copies are always free, and of course you can order hard copies. But most of all, America, get ready. Don't freak out. Don't panic. Keep your head about you. Get your neighbors together. Stock up on lots of food, lots of water, lots of medicine, and lots of lead covered with copper. Because that'll be very valuable, especially propelled at a certain amount of feet per second, heading in the right direction should somebody try and occupy your home and take the things that you worked really hard to believe. Or you can sick a mad, ferocious pig on them. Nah, mine are sweet. All right, love you guys. Take care. God bless. And God bless all those who stand up for liberty and freedom. Those are the only people worth anything nowadays. Take care.